Right, so I guess I'm live. Right, and I'm welcome. Oh, you know what? It's really weird, like sitting here and not even knowing if you're going to be watched. Anyhow, good evening and welcome. So, I believe the stream started. I've got to go there, and believe me, I've got 150 inches from one edge of one screen all the way across. Seems to be live. Good. Well, I hope everyone has been staying safe and healthy. And thank you for joining me if you're joining me live. And I also have to apologise for my terrible audio, but this Buttkicker has caused some problems with my audio. And that's not because Buttkicker does that, it's because I'm pretty dumb. As much as I know, you don't always know everything, and believe me, I seriously think Buttkicker is brilliant, but you really do need to look into it and see how to set it up correctly. So I'm going to say that right off the bat. Anyways, first point is the unboxing. This thing. Yes, and trusty knife. Right, so we'll get into that first. Get it out of the way, and yeah. Now I know there might be a few people pop on and say, "Hey, you smoke too much." Yes, I do. You know what? I've been in this house for 6 months now and seen 2 people. Smoking is keeping me bloody sane. Maybe it made me sane, I don't know. Was I ever sane? Who cares? Point being, sorry if I smoke too much. And cheers, by the way, it's Sunday evening. I'm going to enjoy this unboxing. This is actually for the Technische Universität in Darmstadt, so Germany. And I kind of cheated because I ordered theirs, I ordered one for me because I wanted to, because they're actually hard to get hold of. I wanted to make sure that if the university wanted one, if I ordered one, and there was only like 3 on stock out of Holland, so I ordered 2. So I'd have a backup in case one was defective. So at least I know mine works, so if this one doesn't, they get mine. Whatever. I don't get one. No. So, point being, this is actually a true unboxing. It's never been unpacked. I has. But it allows me to actually save a bit of time so that, yeah, we can unbox this and see what comes out of the box genuinely. And then also you can see, yeah, it functions. You have to remember, as you can see, behind me, bodywork is involved. So you've got a lot of different things going on. But I'm sorry, I'm yakking. Right, it's Black Russian time. And yes, I said Black Russian. I do drink White Russians, so if BLM want to get funny about it, it's really white, lime yards. And that is actually the expression. So I've never heard someone say, "This might be black lime yards." It just wouldn't hang, does it? Either way, I love me Russians, whatever colour they are. Right. So, box topic. Of course, I can't exactly look in while I'm using my knife. So popping it up, chopping something off, and going that way is not going to be a good one. Right. So, don't need to use this again. I'm really bad with knives, I've cut myself so many times. Alright, so, yeah. First thing out of the box. Might be released for this one. As I said, for those that don't understand the English word release, it's your bins, glasses. Right. It's a spec sheet, nothing more, it's just your basics. There's that. And a quick start guide. So, I remember camera bloody thing. Right, now this thing actually states a couple of few small points. I'm not going to go through the lot. This is basically an unboxing. But there are a few points that are very poignant, very important. First thing is, do not ever, while the system's turned on, unplug different connectors or anything else. It can cause a problem. And not just with the system, but also with Windows. So it's, I want to read this. In fact, I normally don't, but I actually did, and it's worthwhile doing so. Now, one of the other points is, you can use it for music, movies, games, whatever. There are different settings. It does give you the basics on there, but it's just one of those that you actually want to read through. And it's very good because, believe me, if I hadn't, I might not have got this working the way I did. So, please, read a quick start. Right? First point. And it's because I've watched it before. I've seen other people unboxing, so you probably haven't as well. This part is absolutely useless, but brilliant because it's got a thing to make sure nothing moves around in the box. I can't do the same, but I use a load of weird stuff. My packaging is probably the most ugliest, but guaranteed to make sure my product never breaks. Right, let me get the first one. Right, so, yeah, I've got to remember left to right, right to left. It's difficult doing these things when it's arse backwards. Right. This is the amp. So it's the BKA 130 CI. And funnily enough, on the remote, it actually says it's for something totally different. It's like really. So I wonder if there was different versions or something like that. But as you can see, in the box at the moment, we have our owner's manual. Also, yeah, I'm going to be doing this all the if I go left. So I've definitely got to do my left and right differently, sorry. But this is the main amplifier guide. It's got some really good little tips in it. I'm not going to go through all of those. The basics are read what comes with this, because it's not like, I don't know, there's so many things you can buy, it's really kind of simple. This actually does have points you need to learn. Then you get a lovely remote control. Now, it kind of surprised me that this is a cabled remote. In modern technology, why is it not wireless? I'm not going to unwrap it. I've got one I can show you, just so you can see how it comes out of the box. That's how it is. So it's by cable, and basically all it is power on, and then the intensity of which the system is sending a signal to the actual Buttkicker unit itself. So how violent it can be, and it can be quite violent. It's It's funny, it depends what system you've got though. But yeah, it can be quite violent. But I've got mine sitting next to me right now. So you see when it's turned on, that's right now. So the unit's off. If I press the button, it's just kicked in my unit over there and it's now on. And with these, which funny enough, this one's got like a nipple. It's got a nipple so you can feel it, and this one's got like a belly button. So this one's above, that one's underneath. So if you're actually just like holding your hand, you can actually feel the difference between them, which is pretty good. So if you are on a rig, you can actually have it near you and you can actually feel what you're doing. But it's purely on and off for the system. The system does have standby, so after a certain time, if you're not using it, it's getting no input, it will shut off. So that's that. Right. So I'm trying to keep everything in already. The main unit itself. So this is how big it is. I think I'm going to swing the camera this way a bit. Yeah, that's better. Right, so main unit. Nice bit of stereo. Oh, and I must say, I actually don't have a really good one, but it comes. I ordered out of Holland because they're hard to get hold of. So this is an adapter, which is actually okay for the university in Germany because it's a Euro adapter. But because they were sending them to England, they actually sent me two separate packages with a 2 meter long English plug adapter, so English plug and cable. So that was additional cost to them. But that was brilliant because they actually did do it. So hats off to them for that. Small point, but actually very important because you don't want your system turning up and you can't plug it in. Right, so this is the app, and I have to say, very impressed with the quality of these. So if you can see, you've got to bring the finger to the right place. Power, obvious. Now, if you're going to use it in a game, you want the low pass off. You want to set your, I can't remember what it says, but your frequency basically to around the 80, and then play around. Depends what you're actually using it for. Different frequencies. This is something you want to play with. Then I'm going to go the right way. High pass you leave on, so press in. Then you got your clip and signal, and your volume up and down. Now these are the two buttons that basically you've got on the remote. So when you plug the remote in, you don't have to have the remote plugged in. But basically it means you can have this on the side, remote's plugged in, and that's what the remote operates. Nothing else, just that, and power on, power off, end off. Very stable. You can see at the back. My lighting's terrible. Everything's terrible today. Standard kind of computer socket. Power on, off. Now make sure it's off whenever you change any wiring before you set up. Make sure it's off. Okay, this is an amplifier, but it is connected to the computer. This makes a difference. So then basically you'll only use top input. The output is if you're linking it to another one. So only worry about the white one. The white one, not the one over there, that's not the white one, that's the white one up there. So, and then this is where the main connector is that goes to the actual unit itself. So, yeah, Buttkicker. Now I'm going to kick your butt. Well, that's the one that's going to kick your butt. Well, at least you hope it's going to kick your course. But believe me, it will actually kick the butt. But in the end, it's got, and I love this point actually, it's got vents at the top, and it's got a little bit of light underneath. Now I've got an Hs3, and I've stuck this unit right on top of my computer, and I get about, it's hard to say, so this amount covers one of the fans, exhaust fans of the computer. My computer runs, right now it's running at just over 35 degrees, CPU and GPU. It's such a beautiful system, but it's exhausting cooler air, and it's just blowing it up through the system, so it actually cools it. So it's not a bad problem, but it's a good point about these. They've got good ventilation, very stable, it's all metal, love it. The only thing is, from the ones I saw that people were doing, like the demo on, they had a piece of plastic sort of standing like that. These do not come with them anymore. So you don't get the stand to stand it up like that. Just so you know, a bit different. Right, that's that. So now we need to get on the bit that kicks your butt. Right. It's always what I was thinking to unbox this one. I can't just throw stuff somewhere. I'm a bit slow the most. Maybe a bit more boring, and my audio is bloody terrible. I know it is. I will get it sorted, but I actually think it's my mic, the end connector. It's iron mic, it's just the end connector's got one bit on it. And I'm gonna probably just get a new mic, but it's gonna mean that. So I'm actually not sure if I'll even stream it. It's kind of worrying. I normally actually have like a YouTube open, so I think what I'm going to do, just in case, is I'm going to actually get it out. Excuse me. I'm going to see, am I actually live? Because I'm kind of concerned that I'm not. I don't know. Am I? It's like, to be quite honest, I have done so much in the last couple of days, and it's like the steering system. Watch my last video, it's been hell. And if anyone's watching and they're following the direct drive for this BMW, yeah, we did some tests, and it was so easy to actually get working in GPBikes. So we got the direct drive working. It's the one thing when they make a box that is really tight. Can't get the bugger out. I can't get my hands down either side. So I got, there we go, suction. Right. So the next part. Sorry for my waffling, but no, like I said, this direct drive is, and I can't do a damn thing because they didn't have any of the quick releases in stock, and they're still waiting on production. So I can't do a thing with the drive. I tried, I had it on the table, and I tried to do it where I held the shaft. Okay, it's only like 10 Newton meters, but when you whack it up full, and you're just trying to hold the shaft with your hands, put that over there before I cut my bump. It was, I tell you what, it went a bit wild until you program it, but it was actually easy to set up software is brilliant. Some of those following me on the direct drive system, believe me, there's going to be some fun games with it. Scary fun games as well. So, to what actually makes it all work. I don't know how, when you look at it, it's like, I love it because it's black and red, right? See that? Black and red, and it's shiny, and then black, red, and yeah. It's a very high quality piece of kit, I have to say that. It's a shame because I can really see my videos so dark right now. This is really hard to do it. I need to get my contrast and everything done. My camera is playing up on me. But if you can just see the quality of that, it's just really nice. Yeah. Unless you're in Australia, that's for the Australians. If you're in Australia, and you can read that now, can't you? Well, that's for everyone this side of the earth. I've lived in both places, so I know what it's like to drink 4 eggs. Oh, by the way, hey, all the Aussies are going to hate me. I've got some Fosters. Cheers, baby. Anyway, no Australian drinks Fosters. Never. So this is unique. Now, for me personally, it's like, it says it can go up to a certain size, which is about 3.5 inches, I think, or 35 millimeter. Well, anyhow, I actually have certain tuning on my systems. So I've basically now put it on a 30 millimeter by 20 millimeter tubing, and works great. When this thing actually does tighten up really, really good, and no complaints. One thing I will say, this design is not quite correct, right? Because I'm wearing black, right? I'm going to bring it through. So you see this cross pattern. This actually allows for a bit of resonation. So on my system, I'll show you in a bit. My bike, it'll make a buzzing sound, but if I grab it like this, okay, so I actually get hold physically of this frame, it will stop the sound that's coming out of it. So this frame itself is making a resonance. It's actually annoying. But at the end of the day, if you're running the rig, you're really not going to notice it. Mine's exaggerated a bit because it's underneath the tailpiece of the CBR 1000, which is echoing. But it is there. If you hear it, it is tinny, and this tinny, for me, is a little bit of a problem. I'm considering putting a clamp on here and seeing if it stops it. But I think this should be made out of thick material. That's one off I'm going to say. This is my only nitpick right now. But otherwise, brilliant. Now, let's get on about plugging this thing in. So, we've got through about all of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the screen that's just showing my handies and get into a bit of software. Where are we? Okay, so I've actually got two. I should have thought about this before, so I'm dragging the OBS over. No, that's not the OBS. That's my live stream. The OBS is over. I've got 3 screens I'm looking at. Right, it's like, give me a break. So I need screen capture 2, we're going to turn on. Right, so the fact is, if you really want to run this with the Buttkicker and you want to have it to work correctly, probably only going to have the onboard sound. That's okay, but the problem is you actually really need to have 2 sound cards in principle. You've probably watched other videos about this, and yes, you've seen it. Well, I've actually like stumbled on the fact of it can be a pain in the bum. It really can, because it's not so direct to set up, and a lot of them forget about frequencies and everything else. So at the end of the day, if you buy a Buttkicker and you really want it to work, if you're just going to use it on your normal sound system and just use the audio, it won't work as well. You'll be lacking in so many different aspects. So first thing you want to do when you get a Buttkicker is, I haven't put the links in, I'll do that later. I'm making this live now, so the main point is get yourself a voice meter. I've actually got normal voice meter, but it seems that everyone's got voice meter banana, and that just makes me think of the Minions, banana. But then apparently there's voice meter potato. Who the hell comes up with these names? Why would you call an electronics program banana, and then one that's supposed to be better, potato? Really? When I say banana, I'm thinking of the Minions, and then you've got little Stuart or whatever his name is with his Pookie. I'd rather have a voice meter Pookie. Can I get a voice meter Pookie, please? Because that might have a better option. Sorry. Anyway, the point is, you'll need voice meter and possibly voice cable, and everything that you'll need will come from this one company. So literally Google voice meter and you'll be able to get what you want. But I think that everyone is using banana. I've only simply got the simplest one because I've only just started with it and I'm learning. There's a lot to learn, but it's worth it. It means that you have to have certain things and realise to get this to work properly, you need to know small facts. You have to have every input set up on the same hertz. So if you go into your sound system, whatever you have going in, okay, so my properties on this, I look at advanced, it's 2-channel, 24-bit, 48,000 hertz. Can't actually see that at the moment, so I've got it in the wrong place. But if you look at it, if you set one audio device, they all need to read the same. Mine's 2-channel, 24 hertz at 24-bit at 48,000 hertz. And everything that I connect to voice meter needs to be the same. And then you've got to go through different settings in voice meter. There are lots of very good tutorials. I'm not going to get into it. I can pay some people for that. But that's basically, you'll need that to get the Buttkicker to really run right. And it allows you to change a lot more on the frequencies. On the Buttkicker, you can change the frequencies. On the simulation, most of it's going to be around the 80 hertz. But this allows you to change bass, treble. It allows you to get that finesse. That's the simple point of it. Now you want to connect it to a game. But do all games do it? Well, audio is with every game, yes. Problem is, audio is only audio. Now, for me, I want GPBikes to be basically, if I change gear, I want to feel it. To feel a gear, a simple sound in the game is too lacking. You actually need a telemetry output. So this is what simulations differ from games. So you've got GPBikes and Hs3, MotoGP 20, 19, 1, whatever. Doesn't matter. The point being, GPBikes is the only, well, GPBikes and MX bikes. Sorry for Boso, they're both from the same company, but they are the only ones that actually produce a telemetry output. So they will state to a motion platform, force feedback, shaker system, they give telemetry. And that's the most important point. And luckily, sim racing studios have the solution, because you have to have a system that reads that telemetry. And luckily, sim racing studios does. Now, voice feedback is totally free. Brilliant program, love it. But it's complicated and I'm going to have to learn something. And I don't have time to learn anymore. My head's full. Help. But saying that, we now have sim racing studios. So I'm going to close out. Right now, this program here allows for the simple fact of I have a program, and the program has been written to send a signal out that will give an exact input for an exact action. That means, as I said, I want a gear change. When I shift down or shift up, I want to feel a bump. Well, an audio signal, which basically Buttkicker is doing, doesn't send out such a fine signal. You'll hear it in the speaker, but it won't send out a sharp enough signal to pass it through and happen when you shift gear. So you have to have telemetry. That's where sim racing studios comes in. For me, specifically, GPBikes. I've only just started using it one day, and it's going to take some learning, but worth it. But you're going to have to pay for it. There's SimVibe, SimHub. I mean, SimVibe costs $8, $9 anyhow, so forget that. SimHub is free, doesn't cover GPBikes though, or any bike sims, but it will cover a lot of other simulations that maybe you like. So try SimHub, it's free and good. But for me, I'm GPBikes, and SRS is the only one that does it. So that's what this is partly about, GPBikes. Now, I've done a couple of test rides, and it's great. But there's another difference, and what I'm going to do, okay, so the thing is, it's a bit awkward to show it live because GPBikes take up screen. But anyhow, point being, the way SRS works is you you can get it and test, but it'll only vibrate for 3 minutes. Otherwise, you have to buy a license. The license is $49, which is £40, 22 pence at PayPal's rate right now. But I got one for, it gives you a shaker, which is what we need for Buttkicker, and motion. But you can choose different motion systems. I got one for DOF Reality, so I'm working with DOF Reality right now to make my system motion. So you'll be able to actually use the same software for shaker and motion on my systems in the next, hopefully, year. But it's not longer. But the point being, it is a license and you have to purchase it. So that's the other side of it. So once you bought the Buttkicker, you also need a license to run it on GPBikes. It's $49, £40, 22 pence. But it enables you to change. So you can basically make it control the engine, gear shift, suspension, the vertical G motion, impacts, long G acceleration, so if you accelerate forward, long G deceleration for braking, your lateral G motion, and for traction loss. And those you can adjust as you want, and basically it enables you to add specific feeling to Buttkicker as to just taking it from the audio. I've seen people with Buttkicker in a shooter, so FPS game, and yeah, it works great because they're just taking bang, 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 bang. But the simulation is far finer, and you want finesse and specific. So yeah, SRS really does work. It does take getting used to. I've had it one day, and so got a lot to learn. I can show you that. Which one? Oh, that's that camera. I picked up the wrong camera. I was actually going to show you, like, kind of mounting it to one other frame, but it's just got too complicated. So basically, I don't know if I can get the mic up so you can hear it. Now I think I'm going to have to set the microphones up differently so you can hear it, but on my bike system, so I'm going to try and swing. Yeah, this is right. So you can see here on my CBR, this is my Buttkicker, and see it's the whole down by, but I got it just coming off of the main frame on the seat. So believe me, it just feels so good. One of my favourite bikes in GPBikes is CB900 RR from 95, and a good guy in Germany made it as a mod for GPBikes, and I then repainted it in my original colours. But the sound and the feel of Buttkicker, just literally at idle, just sitting on the system and just feeling that idle, it really brings the system to life. I'm actually sitting on it and feeling the bars, and I can feel it in the bars, and the point is, it's transmitting it in the right way. I spent a lot of time figuring out where I was going to mount it. I'm in fact going to turn it 90 degrees and put it down. But if you use the Buttkicker correctly and really figure out what you want, The way you mount it's going to be important. The way you learn the software will be important. It's not just put it on and use it. You can if you want, and you'll get a good feeling. Don't get me wrong. But I'm building serious systems, serious gamers and serious racers and professions. So this is, for me, a more serious application. But it is a bolt on and use wherever you want. You want to put it on your desk chair and just use it through your audio, believe me, it'll be good. But for me, I want that finesse, so I'm going to be using Simracing Studio. I'll use Voicemeeter, and I recommend both of those highly. Simracing Studio is the only one you can do for GPBikes, but they do a lot more, so they're well worth it, so don't forget it. You'll not just be getting a license for GPBikes, it will go for a lot more, and there's a lot more to what they produce as well. And the same goes for Voicemeeter. Now, Voicemeeter is free, but they do ask if you donate. There's a lot more to, they've got a lot more products. All of them are free, but it's all on donation. But if you do use their products, please donate. Just a couple of fucking dollars, pounds, euros, whatever. But if you use them, donate. Very nice. End of the day, this is the best kind of start off I can give you. This was mainly because it's for GPBikes. It's for a university that use serious software, and at the end of the day, people need to see the right stuff, and I spend my time trying to get it right. Sorry about the audio, couldn't get it right, but this actually bugged me up because I had to change everything, and I'm learning. So don't take what I say as God's word. Pinch of salt. No. Products, seriously good, but it's a case of you need to go online, watch tutorials on how to use every product. You know, everything's great, but I don't do tutorials like that. I don't have enough bloody time. But seriously, check out these products, get yourself a butt kicker and feel what you're playing, what you're doing. It's so worth it, it really is. I hope I've at least opened the eyes for a few people. I know you've probably seen a load of videos before, but there's certain points that people don't bring across. They don't tell you that, well, it's not going to be that brilliant unless you use a bit of software, and you do have to seriously set up everything to be reading the right measurements. Everything's got to be running the right frequency, so you've got to go through Windows, whatever software you've got. If it's not, you don't get the right feeling and you can't tune things. This is all to do with frequencies, and frequencies are bloody finicky little buggers. So a lot of people get a learning process. It's been one for me, it's going to be one. But I hope that opened your eyes for a couple of people either way. But thank you very much for joining me, and I wish everyone well. Please stay safe, and don't be stupid. Look after yourselves. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.